Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Miftah. I'm from MTS Muhammadiyah Wantaman. Today, I'll tell you a shorter story of Snow White. A long time ago, when the snowflakes fell like feathers, a queen sat sewing at a window. She pricked her finger on the needle so that 3 drops of blood fell upon the snow. The queen said, "If only I had a child with skin as white as snow, and lips as red as blood, and hair as black as the ebony window." In the spring, she had a child who was just as she had imagined, and everyone called her Snow White. But alas, the good queen died, and the king married a new queen whose heart was evil. This queen had a magical mirror, and when she stood and gazed into it, she said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And when the mirror replied, "Oh queen, you are the prettiest of them all," her heart rejoiced. Snow White grew more and more beautiful with every passing years. The time came when the mirror said, "Oh queen, if truth be told, Snow White is the fairest now she's 16 years old." And the queen almost smashed the mirror in her rage. The next morning, the queen summoned a hunter and gave him orders. "Take Snow White out, and don't you dare to bring anything but her heart." The hunter led Snow White into the wood, and taking pity on her innocent heart, he told her to run and hide. She ran and ran, cutting herself on the brambles. Meanwhile, the hunter returned to the queen with the heart of a deer. Snow White fled until she came upon a cottage. The owner of the cottage were 7 dwarfs. The door was open, and Snow White saw that the furniture was child-sized. She curled up in one of the 7 beds and fell asleep. When the 7 dwarfs came home, they saw that an uninvited visitor was sleeping in one of their 7 beds. "Oh my, what a pretty child," said one of them. "Shh, don't wake her up," ordered another. "Where shall I sleep? She's taken my bed," said the third. "Well, there are 7 hours in the night, so every hour one of us must get out of the bed and take turn to sleep in the chair," and they all agreed that was the only fair. When the sun rose, Snow White awoke. How frightened she was when she saw the 7 dwarfs, but they were friendly and asked her name. "Snow White," she replied. "Well, Snow White, if you will take care of our house, then you may live here," said the eldest dwarf. And Snow White agreed with all her heart. Every morning, the 7 dwarfs went out to the mountain, and Snow White stayed at home to cook and keep the house. Meanwhile, the queen asked the mirror who is the prettiest, and the mirror replied, "Oh queen, Snow White is very far to see. Over the hills and far away, she lives with 7 dwarfs today." "Liar!" shrieked the queen. But she soon realized that the hunter must have tricked her. She decided to dress as an old peddler woman, and in this disguise, she went to the dwarf's cottage and knocked, crying at the door. "Pretty things, very cheap, very cheap." Snow White peeped from the window. "Good day, good woman. What are your wares?" All sort of pretty things, my dear." "Thank you," said Snow White, "but I will not buy any today." "It is a pity," said the old woman, "but never mind, I will give you this apple. Perhaps you shall remember me another time." The old woman took a bite on the green side of the apple and handed the rest through the window. Snow White bit the rosy side of the apple, the poisonous side. That night, when the dwarfs came home, they saw Snow White lying upon the floor, with no breath came out of her mouth. They sat around her and wept for 3 whole days. Then they made a coffin out of a shining glass, laid her in it, and put her on top of the mountain. The time came when a prince out hunting, and he was very much taken by the pale girl who lay inside the glass coffin. He ordered his servant to bring the glass box home. On the way, one of them stumbled, and the glass box fell. It shook terribly, and the poisonous apple came out of Snow White's throat. She alive once more. Snow White and the prince were soon wed. They and the 7 dwarfs lived happily. Meanwhile, the queen went mad with envy because she never be the prettiest in the world. Meanwhile, the queen went mad with envy because she could never be the prettiest of them all. That's all the story for today. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.